We're going to demonstrate how to properly install a glue-in post kit today. When you get your post kit, it should come with a can of adhesive. Shake vigorously for a couple minutes before you use it. Get all that rubbers off the bottom and mixed with the solvent properly. Also comes with a tucking tool. Comes in handy for even putting in your lower upholstery. And then you should have 4 posts in your kit. One with the decal plate and the label on it. 2 rear posts and 2 front posts. This is one of the fronts and that's the other front. And you need to determine which post goes on which corner. They're not universal, so try them out. The way you do that is you try to line up the grommets and see which one lines up which way. Line up that grommet. These are all precision made. They should fit perfectly. That grommet lines up, this grommet lines up, and if you sort of chase this up to the top, you'll see you got a little extra material there. That's where your tucking tool comes in handy. When you put this in, you can tuck that up in there at the end, and I'll show you when we get to that stage of the game, but make sure and identify your post before you start. We'll just put in one and they're basically all the same. We've got the windows out of this cab. That makes it a lot easier to put them in. Most people probably are not going to take the windows out of the cab. It's not real difficult, but it is a 2-person job and you can break them and they're really expensive. So most people are not going to go to that trouble, but you can see a lot better as per the video and installation. So we'll just go ahead and put it in this way, and you can decide for yourself if you're comfortable enough to put them in with the windows on. You can, when you take the window latches off, you can make a board so you can prop that window up, but you can still only get it out to about a 45-degree angle. So when you place this post cover on, you're going to want a gap along this edge, and you can see it on this one. This is a camouflage post cover. We left it on here for contrast, but you can see a gap right there. You don't want to try to fill that gap in. That gap is for the rear window seal, because the seal is actually on the window and it comes down and seals right there. So don't try to push or force that post into that gap. So what we're going to do, we're going to start masking this off over here. I'm going to use a piece of wood, and that's just because that's what I had laying around, and I'm going to put that up here, and that piece of wood is going to give me that gap here where I don't want any adhesive, because I don't want that window seal to come down and stick on that adhesive that isn't covered by the foam, because the foam's going to stop short of there. So we'll go ahead and mask that off, and you don't have to use you can use whatever you want. You can actually trim a piece of masking tape to width and put it on that surface if you like. We'll just use this board because it's sitting here and it's handy. Get that thing about where we want it. Tape over the edge there. Put that in. So that should maintain that gap for us real well. Then we're going to protect our lower upholstery because that's already installed. If you are doing a lower and a headliner, the first thing you want to put in is post covers before you put in the lower and the headliner. That way you don't have to mask all this area off. Just put this thing on here. That, keep the glue off our post cover. You know, this masking is a little bit of a pain, but it saves you a lot of cleanup on the other end, so I'd suggest you do it. If you don't, and you get a little overspray, you can actually take a piece of tape, roll it back upon itself, and use that to get the extra glue off any upholstery or anything you would happen to get. Works pretty good. So, but now we'll go around and get this other side masked. I'm going to do there's a tin surface here. You want to mask that off. You don't need any adhesive on that, and if you do get adhesive on it, when you go to roll your post cover around the edge, it can catch on it. You want to get glue on the actual post itself. Start at the top there, run it down. Okay, do the same thing on the bottom here, protect this lower upholstery. The adhesive, just take that piece right there. Keep these two together. That's all you need. And we're not going to put any glue. I don't have to put any masking on the headliner, but I guess I'll just put a little bit there. But it's really not necessary unless you get pretty wild with your glue, because we stop about right in this area here, about 3/4 of an inch below the brackets that hold the headliner in. And the reason we stop there is because if we put adhesive all the way up in here, it's hard to get that material tucked into that spot. So we're going to go ahead and spray our post now. And you always want to spray the metal first. Let it get tacky. If this is cleaned up really well and the glue is wet when you put the post cover on, the post can actually separate the glue from the post. So try to get the glue on the metal first and let it get relatively dry. So I'll get that from the cab here. For these cans to work, you need to keep them upright. And you want to get this surface right here. So we'll start out there. Generous coat of glue. Stop a little ways from the top, and then we'll go around and get the other side, same thing. Okay, and then I got one little surface left in the back here. Quite a bit of glue. Don't be scared to put that glue on there pretty heavy, because it's got to hold through thick and thin. Okay, well, that's it for the adhesive. On the post, what we'll do is we're going to pull the masking tape off now, because we don't want that post, when we put it on there, to hook onto that masking tape with the glue on it. It should just slide right past anything that does not have adhesive on it. So pull those off. And that also gives your adhesive a little bit of time to set up on this post, because like I said, it needs to be dry on this post so it doesn't peel off of there. And when you put your adhesive on your foam, you want it actually a little wet, because it won't peel off of that foam because it's so porous. But if you keep it wet, then if your alignment isn't absolutely perfect, you can peel it back and reposition. It gives you a little bit of an opportunity for repositioning. These are all of these surfaces except this V you can get adhesive on. Try to keep the adhesive out of this V, because what will happen is if you get glue in there and you push in like this and it touches that metal post, you're going to get a dimple. So I just have a little piece here I'm going to stick in there, spray over so I keep the adhesive out of there. You can use anything, cardboard, you can mask it, but whatever works for you. We'll go ahead and spray this adhesive on there. As you can see, if I don't hold this can vertical, it starts to sputter on me, so you got to hold this thing pretty vertical. But I'm really socking some adhesive to this thing. Then you have a can to do 4 of these, so you can get pretty heavy on the glue. And we'll lift that off of there, and you can see there's no adhesive in this thing, so if I fold that up, pull it open, no glue in there, just perfect. Post cover is pretty sticky. I don't think I can reposition it. What you want to do is center these grommets. Set that thing on the center and just touch it. Keep that thing in the dead center, and then follow these flat surfaces up the post. So you align on those. They match the corners. Okay. Now I'm going to come around. I'm going to put this surface around this grommet. You see that round hole? You just put it in the position. Get it down there. Center that hole. Work your way down. Don't stretch it. Let that post go where it needs to. You can't force it. Start to force that thing, you're going to get into some issues. Now I have some glue on the post itself here, and like I said, piece of tape. Take that right off. Try to get that off of that vinyl surface. That's going to do nothing but turn into goo. Take that off of there. I actually got a little too much glue on the top of this. I got it sort of high right here, higher than I would like to have it. We'll just go ahead and finish this edge. Pull that around there. I'm going to leave that top loose for a little bit. Come back to that. I'm going to go back around to the other side. Flip it around. So, see the alignment back here, if you can see that, how that edge lines up almost perfectly. I'm going to pull this around. Now keep in mind there's supposed to be a gap there, so don't pull that too hard. Just sort of let it roll back there to where it wants to go. Should have a gap along that thing, along that top edge, along the bottom. Okay. Now, we got a little too much adhesive here, so our tucking is going to be a little more difficult. If I wouldn't have had so much adhesive up there, this tucking would go better. You see the way it's sort of hanging up on me? You just tuck that thing around there. Make sure and work all the material towards the top of the cab. Yeah. Now I ended up with one small wrinkle right here, and I'm not going to be able to get that thing out of there. Because that's the way it is with this glue. They're a little tougher to put in. They look nice when you're done, but alignment's critical. As you can see, the grommet holes line up really well on this. Rub down those surfaces. This piece is supposed to come down just like this. That's the way the original ones did. This is where me and the engineer don't agree. I don't like that look. So when I get my posts done and I'm installing them in a tractor, I take this little piece right here, pull it out, I flip it up underneath there. And I like this look a little bit better. It's not hard to do. and then you get a nice straight line. But you're actually supposed to have that little flap. If you want it original, you want to leave that flap on there. I think this is a lot cleaner, nicer look, so that's the way I do it. So anyway, that's the way the glue end goes. It actually came up pretty good. One really small wrinkle up here at the top, and these glue end posts are just tough. I mean, it's not easy, but they do look nice if you can fight the battle and get them in there right. I do want to show you real quickly, we have another type of post that we do offer. They're called quick fit posts. They're plastic back. They're considerably more expensive. That's what this post is. They just pop in and out of there just like that. See, there's plastic inside. We also supply a silicone sealant that you can put in here if you're scared of squeak and rattle. That has not been an issue. You can use it if you like, or you can leave it out. We always leave it out, but these can be taken out and put back in. Here's a black post, same type. I'll show you how they go in. You start on the bottom, or on the top I mean, but keep the bottom out in towards the cab, and slide that up into that, between the headliner and the edge. Get that up in there. When it's up high enough, you'll know, because this hole will line up with that grommet. Clip on inside grommet, pull it around the back side, snaps into place, and believe it or not, that's it. That's all you do. No taping, no masking, no adhesive. Got the same thing right here, where you see this flap hanging down that I'm not very fond of. I'm just going to take that thing, flip it up underneath there, and that disappears just like that. That's a nice post cover, easy to put in. That's our called our quick fit. Costs a lot more money, but you're going to put them in no time flat, and no wrinkles.